Welcome to Speaking of Adoption, where we dive into the heart of adoption, sharing real stories, breaking down myths, and shining a light on how adoption can be done with love, integrity, and respect. Whether you're a birth parent, adoptive family, adoptee, or just someone who wants to learn more, this is a space for honest conversations and meaningful connections. Join us as we explore the beautiful, complex, and life-changing world of ethical adoption. Let's get started. Today, I am talking with Heidi, a birth mom whose story is such a beautiful reminder that love and loss can exist side by side. She shares what led her to choose adoption and how her relationship with the adoptive family grew into a really special open adoption. Heidi's honesty and courage shine through every part of her story, and I think it's going to give you a deeper look at what so many birth moms experience, the heart, the healing, and the hope that can come through openness. So let's get started. Yeah, super excited to have you on here and to hear your story. So maybe take us back to when you first found out you were pregnant and tell us what age you were.
Okay. Yeah. So I was 18 and I would say it was like the summer between graduation and going off to college.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to go off to college to BYU, Idaho.
Oh.
And so I was just in a place where my period wasn't coming and it wasn't coming. And I was doing this thing where I was kind of like bargaining with God of like, if you just let me have my period, I promise I won't do anything ever again. Like just really dumb stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I never took a pregnancy test. I just kind of felt like that's what was happening. And I'm the oldest at the time I'm the oldest of 6. And so I just like knew I was pregnant. My mom had already been through it. I knew everything about being pregnant. And I just was like, this is what's happening to me. And I didn't tell anybody. And I just felt at the time, I felt a lot of shame, because I didn't tell anybody. And I didn't even tell birth father at that time.
Okay.
And I just was like, I'm going to hide this and hope that it kind of like goes away.
Oh,
but
wow.
Abortion was never an option for me. And so I just felt like I'll figure it out. And that's kind of my personality of just like, oh, it's fine. We're going to figure it out later.
Stress that later.
Yeah. And so I actually went off to BYU, Idaho.
What?
And I'm very tall. I'm 5'10". And it was like winter there. If anybody's ever been in Rexburg, Idaho in the winter, I wore a lot of sweatshirts, a lot of jackets, and nobody knew.
Wow.
I was just tired a lot. I knew that there were like certain medications I couldn't take. I knew I needed to drink a lot of water. I knew I needed sleep. Like all of these things that I just knew. So I kind of knew how to take care of my body. I never went to see a doctor until later on. And then I don't know. It was just a really scary time. And I think in October, I finally told the birth father that I was pregnant, and he was pretty upset.
Like a relationship, or what was your relationship with him?
Yeah, we were like high school sweethearts.
Okay. So were you still together when you went off to BYU?
I think that I really wanted to start new. Like I wanted to go off to college and start new. And so I was kind of ready for the next step. I didn't need to have a relationship with him to continue on. I still loved him and felt like it was a really hard situation to try and let go of.
Yeah.
But I was ready to move on, but I couldn't because this was kind of tying us together.
So how far along were you when you finally told him?
If I can do my math right, probably like 5-6 months along is when I finally told him. And he was upset and just like, this is not what I wanted. He's like, we're too young. I was like, I know. And we just kind of let it go. Like he didn't really want to talk about it anymore. And so I just, again, brushed it under the rug again and was just like, oh, I'll worry about it when the time comes. I will tell my parents before we start second semester because that's when money is due. And I know I probably can't be here anymore. So I had no idea how far along I was. I just didn't. I had no idea.
So when you were like going through that in your mind, the like, I'll figure it out when it comes. I'll tell my family when it comes. In your head, were you envisioning you parenting the baby? Or was that not even like you couldn't even look that far ahead?
I think that I had these like ideas of what adoption was from
Okay.
movies and TV. But that idea that I had was that they were going to take the baby away from me and I would never see the baby again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what adoption looked like to me. And so I didn't know, like, is that true? Is that something that I was willing to deal with?
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of kept thinking, like, I'll worry about it when the time comes when I have to actually make a decision. So I didn't know a whole lot about adoption and like what it actually was in 2002. And then I found out later a little bit more about it. I just knew that abortion wasn't the option. So it was either going to be parenting or, adoption. And I knew
that out later.
Yeah. Yes.
We're going to procrastinate that like a true teenager, really.
Yes. Yes. It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So you had that pressure to like protect your family's image, I'm assuming, because you mentioned that you had like a conservative family. Did you tell like any friends? Did you tell anyone?
No.
Wow.
I only told birth father. That was it.
Wow. And he was like, we're not talking about this ever again.
He was just like, he wanted to take a different route and that's not the route I wanted. And so I just was kind of like, well, if you don't want to support me, that's fine. But this is what I'm probably going to choose, adoption or parent. And if you want to be in the picture, great. And if not, I don't know. I think that we still had these like kind of crazy dreams that like it would all work out and we would be a family. But I knew in my heart that he's not who I wanted to marry.
Yeah. That's wild. I think surprisingly, we do have a good amount of birth moms who hide their pregnancy from almost everyone. But what is that like? Like, can you tell us a little bit of how that felt to like, or were you just kind of numbing it out?
Yeah, I think the body and mind is a wild thing because I remember people ask me later, like, you didn't have any morning sickness? And I'm like, no, I really think my brain completely shut it all off.
Your brain's like, this isn't happening.
Yes. Yeah. And my brain was like, we're not doing this. But my body kept saying, yes, we are. Mm-hmm. And it felt very lonely.
Yeah.
And it felt felt a lot of shame where I was like, if people find this out about me, what are they going to think? What are they going to know? Like, I was the oldest, like I said, of 6 at the time. Like, what are my brothers and sisters going to think? What are my parents going to think? I kind of grew up thinking like, if I show up pregnant, my parents are going to kick me out. And I mean, that's not ultimately what happened, but that's what was going on in my head at the time, which is really sad. I was like, it just makes me sad for that girl.
Yeah, for sure. She needs a hug.
Yeah.
That's so hard. So where and at what point did you start to explore adoption? So
actually the day after my 19th birthday, which is in January, I finally decided that it was time to tell somebody.
And you were due when?
I didn't know yet.
Oh.
I had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Later, I found out that I was due in February.
Okay.
So, but this is mid-January.
8 months along.
Yes. And I talked to the bishop of our congregation, and he got me in touch with somebody from LDS Family Services, which was an adoption agency at that time. Mm-hmm. And she came and talked to me and kind of told me everything about adoption. And she was like, you get to choose who your baby goes to, and you get to like be very much involved with that decision making, and nobody's going to take your baby away from you unless you tell them that you want them to take your baby away from you. Like, this is all your choice. And kind of walked me through the whole process. And I was just kind of like blown away that I could have a say in what happened to my baby. And I just felt kind of like content with it. And so that's also when I called my parents and I told my parents about being pregnant. And that was a very, very difficult conversation.
I can't
that I had.
Imagine. By the way, it's been like 8 months.
Yeah. And I said I didn't know how far along I was. And, my mom was obviously very disappointed. And my dad wasn't even on the phone because I called my mom and I said, can you please go somewhere where dad isn't? Mm-hmm. And she said that pretty soon right away she knew that it was something like that. And I just told her that I'd messed up and, I was sorry and I was crying. And she said that actually we found out later that the phone got disconnected somehow. And what she thinks is a blessing because she was able to kind of regain and like think about what she wanted to say first. And then later, my parents both called me and my dad got on the phone with me and he just said, like, Heidi, we're feeling all of these emotions. Like, we're sad and we're angry and disappointed and all of these things. And he paused and he said, but I need you to know that most of all, I love you and we're going to support you no matter what. Like, whatever it is that you choose to do, because this is going to be your choice, we're 100% behind you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really was. Like, everything that I had imagined up in my head of how my parents would react was not what actually happened.
Yeah, I'm sure it was so relieving. You kept that secret for so long, and then to finally like get it off your chest and for them to react pretty well. I mean, of course, you're going to have the bad reaction also, but I'm sure that was super, super relieving also.
Yeah, it was. They came and got me and from BYU, Idaho. And I just remember just seeing him for the first time. I remember also being like, kind of like really embarrassed.
Yeah.
But they embraced me and just hugged me again and just said, this has to be your decision. And we're going to support you, whatever you want to do.
So
and
did
I said,
they
okay.
have any big feelings like one way or the other of what you did? I
don't know. I think the best thing that they could have done for me was allowed it to be my choice. And they just said, if you want a parent, we'll help you. And if you want to place your baby for adoption, we'll also support you in that too. They never really gave me their opinion one way or another that I remember. I mean, this was like 23 years ago. So
yeah,
but I really remember them just being supportive and saying, this is your decision.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
They should get credit for that because that can be hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you went back home, right? You're not from Idaho. Where are you?
I live Washington State.
Okay, so you went back to Washington for like the remainder of your pregnancy. Were you like in the middle of your semester or like?
So this is just classic Heidi. I left right before tuition was due.
Okay, you're like,
at least I'm thinking about like, we don't want to pay tuition and then lose it all.
Yeah.
So I was kind of trying to be smart about it.
Yeah. You thought ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point, did you tell friends and like roommates or like?
Yeah, yes. Before I left, I sat down with my roommates, or no, I told one roommate. And I just sat in her car. And we just cried, and she was so loving and supportive and was just like, I'm here for you. I'll be here if you're going to come back, like whatever. Just, she was so supportive and so loving. And I will forever remember that conversation because I really confided in her. And then I think after I left, I think probably rumors, for sure. Well, I guess they're true, but the truth started coming out about why I left, and that was okay at that point. And then obviously like family members found out, people in our town. I grew up in a really small town, so people started to find out there, but it wasn't like I was broadcasting it or anything to anybody. It was just like, this is what's happening with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So guide us through what the process was like, choosing your adoptive parents.
Okay. So really quick, I got back to Washington, went to the doctor for the first time. I had an ultrasound. And after that, during that appointment, he sat across from me and my mom and the birth father and told us, you're about 36 weeks along. And me as a young 19-year-old didn't know that much about pregnancy. I knew some. And I said, oh, what does that mean? And my mom about fainted. And the doctor said, that means you could give birth at any moment.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, okay. So everything kind of like really went fast forward. There was a family that we knew that had gone through the whole thing about 4 years before. And she had lived in Utah and decided to be there to kind of get away. Like I said, I lived in a really small town and I kind of needed to be away to be able to make my own decisions and not have the influence of a bunch of friends and family members and everything, because I had family members coming out of the woodworks trying to tell me like, we don't give away our blood. Like, this is what we're like, we're going to support you. I had an aunt and uncle say they were adopt the baby. And I was like, no, that's too close to home. And so I started, I made a decision to move to Utah to get away from everybody. And because my caseworker counselor was closer by where I lived in Washington, the caseworker lived 3 hours away. So every time she'd want to come and see me, she would have to drive 3 hours west and then go back home 3 hours east. And I just was like, I need somebody that I can have more support from, that I'll be able to just like meet with them if I needed to.
Yeah.
So I chose to move to Utah. And a lot of people think that my parents kicked me out. That's not at all what happened. I made the decision. I wanted to move there. I wanted to get away from everybody. And so when I moved there, I moved in with a family that had 2 adopted boys. And they just opened up their home to any birth mom or any pregnant mom who needed a place to stay.
Wow.
And so I met them, and it was like I have known them my whole life. They just became my instant family. And shortly after that is when I met with my caseworker there through LDS Family Services, and they started giving me profiles. So nowadays everything's online, right? Like in 2002, they would literally give me a file with like printed pictures.
Still do that.
Oh, you do? Okay, good. Good. Yeah. So it's like a letter that they wrote to a birth mom with all these pictures.
Yeah. It's like a scrapbook, basically.
Yes.
Of their life and who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I got that, it also takes them out of the system for nobody else could look at them. But I was also looking at other files at the same time. Like, and I felt really guilty giving these other files back and being like, it's not them. Like, I just felt so bad. I was like, these people want babies so bad. And I wish I could just have babies for all of them. Yeah. And I couldn't. Aww. And so that was really hard for me to have to give files back and just be like, these aren't the ones. But I held on to this one that I really felt good about, but I wasn't getting like, this is a family. Like, I just was really kind of upset that I wasn't getting a more clear answer. And probably about a week later, I ended up going into labor, and I didn't have a family picked yet. And I was like, what? It was just crazy. I had 2 like things that were really important to me. I really wanted her, or at the time, sorry, back up. When I was in Utah, I also found out that I was having a girl. Okay. I didn't know what I was having until a second ultrasound, and then it confirmed that it was a girl. And because I'm the oldest, I really wanted her to be the oldest of her family. And so that was kind of important to me. I wanted her to go to somebody that hadn't gotten a baby yet. And I just kind of wanted them to be active, like athletic. I grew up super athletic. I played basketball. Like athletics were super important to my family. And I just wanted her to be in a family where like the couple showed that they loved doing athletic things. And so I got this letter of like, kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears style, where Goldilocks goes through their house and kind of tells them about like what's in each room and tell them about the couple. It was so cool. I loved it. And it was different than anything else that I had read. And I just thought like, this is making them different than everybody else. And they showed about how like mom loved dance, dad loved athletic, like doing all these fun things outdoors. And I just felt good about them. So I ended up going into labor and had her on February 11th, 2002. And my mom and dad were not there, but the people that I was staying with, that I lived with, she was there. And then later that day, my parents drove 12 hours from Washington State to Utah to be with me. And so when they came in and they got to meet, Alex is her name. I didn't name her, actually. They ended up naming her, but we'll call her Alex. So they got to meet Alex. At that point, she was just baby girl. And I gave them the file and I said, what do you think about these guys? And my mom just was like, I really like them. What do you think? And I was like, no, why won't somebody just tell me an answer? She's like, nope, it has to be your decision. Yeah. She's like, but I feel really good about them. Aww. So that's who I chose. And later that day, my mom and the person that I was staying with went and found an envelope like a pink envelope with like a pink card that basically said like, congrats on your new baby. And their caseworker gave it to them later that day, and they opened it up and said, your baby, I chose you to be the parents of my baby.
And they were in Utah? Were they?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They were in Utah.
So cute.
Yeah. So they were excited. They didn't have anything prepared, but they were excited. And so they went out and bought everything that they needed for a new baby.
Oh,
yeah.
That is so sweet. And so sweet of your parents to come all that way to be there for you and support you through it. That's so cute.
They were.
So what was it like to meet them in person? Did they come to the hospital, or what was your hospital experience like after you pitched them?
So the first day that I met them, they didn't, I don't know if it was like my caseworker or their decision, but they wanted to meet me first without the baby. Like she was going to go to the nursery and hang out while I got to go meet the couple. So we met in like a conference room at the hospital.
Okay.
And I remember walking in and seeing them, and I was overcome with this feeling of just like, these are my baby's parents. Like these are them. And there's no doubt in my mind. I just knew. And that was a confirmation that I needed. I just knew that I realized later that I just needed to make a decision first. And then once I made that decision, that's where the confirmation came, where I was like, these are them. They were amazing. They sat down with us and just got to know us, wanted to know everything about me, growing up and as a child. And actually, this is a big side note, but birth father actually also came and was there later that time too. He was able to be there and meet them. He ended up becoming very supportive of the whole adoption. And so he was there, met them, and it was just a really neat experience. I think we were probably there with them for a few hours of just getting to know each other. And I loved them instantly. I was like, I know you guys. Like, I just felt like our souls knew each other. It was pretty incredible.
I love that. So I am the matching coordinator. So I like bring the birth moms, the profiles of adoptive families, and they, like, most of the time, like when I'm giving them to them and kind of explaining everything, they say like, how am I going to pick all like from these families? And I'm like, you'll just know.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't have any other explanation other than you will just know. When it's your family. And sometimes they're like, these aren't them. Like, I'm not feeling anything. So we get a few more, or you're fine, or whatever. But it's always, they always end up saying that though. Like, this is for sure them. And I don't even know why. Sometimes they don't even know why. Like, sometimes it's little things like they're outdoorsy, or they have a few dogs and I like that, or, you know, but they all ask me that question. I'm like, you'll just know. It's just a feeling.
It's true. Yeah. Which I think is so great. Like, it's so comforting.
Yeah.
As a birth mom to know that I just knew. And because later down the road, when you start doubting yourself, I always go back to that feeling of like, no, I knew that they were the right people.
Yeah. I had that confirmation with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what were the first few weeks like after that?
So let me see, she was born on the 11th. I met them on the 12th, and the 13th is when I did placement. And, I mean, needless to say, placement, that was the hardest day of my entire life. Even though I knew that it was right, it was still very, like, it was difficult. Like, even though I knew that she wasn't mine, like, she still felt like she was mine, but I was giving her to this amazing couple that I knew was her parents. It was still really hard. So thankfully, back in 2002, it was right in the middle of the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. And so the family that I was living with were so supportive and was just like, we're going to get you busy. Like, I went to a USA women's hockey game. We went and just walked around did a lot of the Olympic events, which was so fun. Also, remember though, I just had a baby.
Yeah, you're recovering.
I still had to recover and be postpartum without an actual baby, which was kind of terrible. But they just kept me busy, but they also really let me just rest. My parents were there for a few days later. I think my dad had to go back to work, but my mom stayed for a few days. And there were times that I would just wake up in the middle of the night and just cry and go crawl in bed with her. And that was hard, but I kept just feeling like I knew that I made the right decision. But there's still heartbreak, and they're still mourning the loss of a baby that I knew that I wasn't going to get to raise. And so that was really difficult.
Yeah, people don't, I mean, there's so many layers to placement day and like the weeks. First of all, you're postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dealing with a lot of hormones and a lot of emotions. But there's just so many layers to it, because even though you have that confirmation that you did the right thing, you still also have loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think every week after that, like, we sent letters through the agency.
Okay.
And so they would send me pictures and I would send them letters just every week for a while at that time. And go ahead.
Did you feel like comfort receiving those, or was it painful to receive those?
No, I felt a lot of comfort receiving those. I loved getting all of those pictures and all of the updates and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I loved it. I think it would have really crushed me if they would have not sent me anything, or if they would have held back. I just needed to know that she was doing well and that she was okay.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you learn about yourself during that, like, in between space?
That's
a big question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that I really learned that I could do hard things.
Yeah.
And as a young 19-year-old, I mean, I can look back on that now. I'm 42, right? Like, I can look back on that and realize that, like, that made me grow up very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And that I was a lot stronger than I thought that I ever gave myself credit for.
Yes.
And that when it comes down to doing hard things, that I could do them. Yes. And I have thrived on doing hard things my whole adult life.
Yes.
And just that I also learned that people love me, even though I will make mistakes, because I knew that wouldn't be the last time that I would ever make mistakes. Or I don't know. It's kind of weird now saying that it was a mistake, because I think she's the greatest blessing that ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. But then it felt like I had messed up. Now I don't think I did, but you know what I'm saying? It's another one of those really weird things. Yeah.
Well, you went through something really unimaginable at such a young age, like experiencing the unplanned pregnancy at a young age in itself is so difficult. And then placement is also like another layer to that. And just like the strength it takes to do both of those things is unimaginable. It's amazing how much strength we prove to ourselves when we go through such hard seasons like that. Yeah. Yep. Thanks for sharing that. That's really amazing.
Thanks.
Okay, so you said that they were kind of giving you updates like once a week for the first little bit, and then did it kind of gradually fade after that?
Yeah. So in 2002, kind of the tradition of like how we did things was like, they said for the first 6 weeks, you would get a letter and pictures every week.
Yeah.
And then it would go to monthly.
Yeah.
Up until like the first birthday. And then after that, it would be like once a year. Mm-hmm. And at that time I was kind of like, well, whatever, like I'll get what I can get. Like and I felt like I had a good relationship with the adoptive parents, where they were really good about all of that. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like at that time, I was like, that's what it's going to be. And that's okay. And then shortly after that, I found out that some policies had changed, and that after 6 months after placement was finalized, I don't know if it's still like this in Utah, do they have to wait 6 months for finalization?
It's now 3.
Okay. So at that time it was 6 months. So once 6 months hit and adoption was finalized, then it could be as open as you wanted it to be. So around 6 months, when I found this out, I was like really excited. I was like, oh, we're going to get to be a lot more open. And I wrote them a letter, and I kind of asked like, hey, now that the adoption is finalized, how do you guys feel about being more open? And they weren't comfortable with it yet.
Yeah.
And I always took the philosophy of like, I can ask, and if they're not comfortable, that's okay, because ultimately I want to build a good relationship with them. So I'm going to, whatever is comfortable for them, I'm going to be okay with. And so when they said they weren't super comfortable with it, I was like, cool, we can keep sending letters to the agency. That's fine. And so that's what we did for the first couple of years. And then we exchanged emails, I think when she was about 3 or 4 years old. And then that's when we started emailing as opposed to actual physical letters.
Okay. So you got like direct contact at that point, like your actual email. It wasn't through the agency anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It was much easier.
Yeah. Yes. And then where did things, so that was when she was how old?
Probably 3 or 4.
Okay. And how often was that communication?
I would say like once every few months or so. Like at that time also, I think is when I got married, and I got married in 2005. And then, I kind of started having like my own daughter. Like I got pregnant with our daughter, and, I kind of got thrown into motherhood where it's not that I forgot about Alex. I've never, ever forgot about her. I think about her every day of my life, but I just was so busy, like being a mom and like raising my own baby, and, but knowing that Alex was okay where she was. So there was this kind of time where we would email like every few months. And then sometimes I'd feel super guilty that I wasn't like emailing her more, and vice versa. But I think both were really in a good spot where we were like, life is crazy, because at that time also they had adopted another little boy. Okay. And so they were also in the throes of toddlerhood and, being parents of young kids. Life. And so, yes. Yeah. So it was weird that it felt guilty, but also it felt really natural of just like, we're kind of both just living our lives separately, but I never quit thinking about her.
For sure. Okay. So I have to ask then, so you have how many kids now?
I have 4.
So how did you handle and go about them knowing about Alex? Like, what did that look like? And at what age did they learn about her? And,
Yeah. So I got to see Alex for the first time when she was 6 years old. And my daughter, Kennedy, is just a few years younger than Alex. And she came with us. She was a baby when Alex was 6, I think. Okay. And so she was there. So we have pictures of that visit. And those pictures like went on our wall. And so there's a picture of like me and Alex, and there's a picture of Alex and Kennedy together. And she has just always been a presence in our home. Like I've had her pictures up. If her parents would send me pictures, like dance pictures or anything else, like she would just be in our home as pictures. And so growing up, my kids just knew that she was a baby that I had, and I placed her for adoption. And I don't really think I started using words like half sister until my kids were a little bit older. Okay. So they could kind of really understand that. But they just knew that mom had a baby before she married dad, and she gave her to another family to have because they couldn't have babies. That's kind of like the wordage that I used when my kids were growing up. Yeah. 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 And then I think when Alex was like 12 maybe, or 10 or 11, I let Kennedy go with me to go pick out a gift for her to send her for her birthday. And that was really fun for her. So it's just little things like that. Like it was never a surprise. It was always just, that's just their life. That's who she was. Yeah.
Yeah. Did they ever like dig deeper as they grew older into like why, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think so. I have 3 boys. So I have my oldest is Kennedy, and then I have 3 boys. Kennedy and I are really close. I don't think that she ever really dug deep. I think she just kind of knew that that's what I decided, and that's what it was. The boys are very like, whatever, like it happened, whatever. Yeah, they're boys. They didn't really ever ask more.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
So what does your openness look like now?
It's amazing. So
you met her when she was 6.
And then we got to meet her again when she was 13. And that was really nerve-wracking. She was also very nervous. And at the time, her parents before that had gotten a divorce. Okay. And so that was a really hard time that we all went through. And so when I met Alex, her mom like sat on the bed and was like, hey, we're going to go meet some friends at the park. And she was like, who are we meeting? And she's like, oh, we're going to go meet Heidi and her family. And at first Alex was like super nervous. And then I think her mom said, listen, if you're not ready to meet her, like, that's okay. We don't have to see her. It's all up to you. And she decided that she was okay with it. And at first she was super nervous, and then it felt really natural. Like she hung out with my kids and played games, and we were hanging out, I think for like probably 3 or 4 hours at a park. And just like, I don't know, it was crazy. It was crazy to see this version kind of me, because she looks a lot like me. Okay. So it was just kind of crazy to see her as a teenager. And it was amazing. And that opened up doors for us to be able to see each other at least once a year since then. And it was really nerve-wracking. Every time I would see her for the first little bit, I'd get like super anxious and excited. But then after I was with her for like 5 minutes, it would all like melt away.
Yeah, it was natural.
It was totally natural. And she's always called me Heidi, and she calls her mom. And I always say to her, like, your mom, blah, 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 or let's ask your mom, whatever. Because I've always wanted to really protect boundaries and really make sure that her mom knew that I was her number one fan. Aww. Like, I never wanted her to think that I was coming in to try and be the cool mom or something that I wasn't, because that wasn't my title. I always wanted to honor and love and respect her mom. And I wanted Alex to know that I did.
That's amazing.
And so for years after that, we just kind of saw each other once a year. And then when she turned 18, I kind of had a conversation with her that was like, hey, I'm here to have more of an open relationship with you. At that time, we didn't have each other's phone numbers. Okay. All communication went through her mom.
Okay.
And I was totally okay with that. Again, I never wanted to push boundaries to where they were like, ooh, like, I'm not comfortable with you coming into our lives. And so at 18, we had that conversation, and slowly we got to the point where we both had each other's phone numbers, and we would randomly text every once in a while. When she was 18, it was also the first time that I was ever with her by myself. Oh. Like, we got to go like shopping at the mall or something. Like, it was really fun. And it just gradually had like grown from that, where there was respect on both sides of really just trying to just make sure both sides were okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you did it in like an extremely healthy way for yourself and for Alex and the adoptive mom. There's so many people. Yeah. There's a whole triad of people to consider. And it sounds like you considered all of them. And that's so sweet of you.
Yeah. I think my ultimate goal was to have what we have now. Yeah. Like, to have a very open relationship to where we can say, like, yeah, I birthed you, but your mom raised you, and we can have this love for and mutual respect for each other in all of the layers and all of the areas. And I just never wanted it to be something that she was like, this lady's like trying to push in on me. Like, I just never wanted that. I wanted so badly for us to be in such a good place. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that that's where we are right now.
Yeah, it's just an expansion for her of someone else who loves her and adores her.
Yes.
Yeah. How has that openness affected like your kids and your family?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like, my kids now, especially my boys, often refer to Alex as their half sister. I mean, they'll tell people that. Like, Alex just got engaged, and my boys were already like, I can't wait to be a half uncle. And I'm like, hold on. She's not even pregnant. Like, she's just getting married, guys. But like, I think they love her. They have a different relationship with her, right? Because they didn't grow up with her. So it's almost like this. She's like this unicorn sister of like,
sure,
she's so cool. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't hate her for doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just been really cool to see, like you said, it's an expansion of this love. Like, my husband loves her dearly and just thinks that she's the coolest person ever. Was always super welcoming and open to having a relationship with her. My family, a couple years ago, we decided to all have this really big family reunion. that included her and her mom and stepdad and sister go to Bear Lake. And me and my family and all of my siblings and all of their kids and my parents all went to Bear Lake, and they all met. Alex had met a brother of mine and his wife and then my parents before that. And this all was actually Alex's mom's idea. Like, she's the one that said, when are we having this big giant family reunion? And at first we were like, are you serious? And she says, no, I'm serious. And so now we do this every other year where we all get together and we just have this giant family reunion. Her mom has often said, like, we adopted Alex, but you guys adopted us. So, like, it's amazing. And it's super healing for all of us to be able to look down at this road 23 years later and be like, we're just all family. That's all it is.
Yeah, just one big blended family, and seeing everyone who loves her like in one space. I'm sure that's so incredible for her too.
Yeah.
To experience that, and a lot of adoptees don't get that.
Yeah, it's been really neat to be able to see her look at people in my family, my siblings and my parents, and be like, make connections.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I do that. Or, I love art. And my mom loves art. She's an artist. And like, Alex is an amazing artist also. And so she was able to make that connection of like, that's where I got that from.
Yeah.
And again, like, I think her mom has also done a lot of work herself to know that, like, it doesn't take away from anything that she has done to raise her and the amazing person that she is a lot of because of how she raised her and who she is. And like, but she also honors that, like, she gets certain traits from our family. And I think that that's so beautiful for Alex to see.
Yeah.
That she's this person because of how she was raised and her DNA. It's really cool.
Oh, that's so amazing. Okay, I'm curious too about birth father. Is he in her life now, or do they have a relationship?
No, they
you
don't.
Have to talk on him if you don't want to, but
no, it's fine. He quit writing when she was about 6 months old.
Okay.
And hadn't really heard anything from that sense. Like, I mean, a year or two after Alex was born, we both like went our separate ways and just decided that life wasn't going to work out with us. And I haven't talked to him since I was engaged and decided to marry my husband. And so I don't know. I don't know. She has asked about him a lot and is wondering about, like, and she might want to have a relationship with him sometime. Like, I've kind of been pretty honest with her that I would have to step out of that. Like, I would give her as much information as I had, but that would be between her and him, and that I would need to step away from. I didn't want to be in the middle of that one. Yeah. So yeah, he hasn't really been involved at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
You seem you're so amazing, like, that you can see what is healthy for you and what isn't. I think it's so awesome.
Oh,
you're
thanks.
Like, that's you and him, and I'm gonna step out on that one.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There's a little part of me that wants to call him up and be like, if you disappoint her, I will come and find you.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's fair.
I'm trying to be very mature about it and not let teenage Heidi come back.
Yeah, you're doing a really good job.
Thanks.
Okay, so I would love to hear, this is a big one. What do you wish 18-year-old you had known looking back?
Sorry, that was real bright for a while.
Oh, you're good.
I wish 18-year-old me would, again, just before I had Alex and placed her, I wish that I realized how much people were going to love me, even when I told them the reality of what was going on. I wish that I would have known just how strong I was going to be. I wish that I would have known now after having her, I wish I would have known that it was all going to be okay.
Yeah.
That I was going to do a lot of work to get to where we are, and that it's all going to be worth it. That all of the sadness and missing her and not getting to raise her was going to be okay.
Yeah.
That she was going to be okay, and that I was going to be okay, and that we would have this beautiful relationship that we have now. And it hasn't always been easy. There's been a lot of uncomfortable conversations that we've had to have, and we'd had to work through, insecurities on both sides of me and her mom. And we've had to have some hard conversations, but I think ultimately, I don't know. I wish that I would have realized exactly how much this was just about love and that it was going to be okay.
Yeah. And love doesn't disappear even when motherhood looks different.
No.
It's just more love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would you tell another young woman facing an unplanned pregnancy?
That I know her heart, and I know that it's hard. And I would tell her that it has to be 100% her decision. Whether she chooses to place, whether she chooses to parent, that it has to be her decision. Because when things get hard, you're the one that has to be able to live with the decision that you made. Mm-hmm. And there can be some regret there, and there can be some things that you will be upset or sad about, but it will be better if you know that you're the only person that you can kind of go back and like blame, or know that you made that decision, whether you felt it was, when you know that it was the right decision. There's going to be a lot of people that have an opinion about what you should do, mm-hmm. but ultimately you're the one that gets to decide and should decide what the next steps are for you and your baby.
Yes, I love that. And I am so glad that you had that in your life, because a lot of people don't. You had people empowering you and telling you, like, we'll stand behind whatever that choice is. Mm-hmm. And I think that, for anyone out there who doesn't know or doesn't have that in their lives, like, they just need to know that it's about them and their choices.
Yeah.
So what has adoption taught you? We kind of touched on that one a little bit, but
that love doesn't divide, that it multiplies.
Yeah.
That family isn't blood, that it's mm-hmm. what you decide family is. And
I love that.
That the greatest blessings can come from some of the hardest circumstances. Mm. Like I said before, like, she was the greatest blessing of my life. It has brought people into my life that I would have never known. Like, her mom is like my soul sister. Mm-hmm. I just have this very, very deep connection with her. And I'm so grateful that I get to know her and that I get to know her family. And I love that I get to help other people who are out there that are maybe pregnant or going through adoption. Like, I've had a lot of friends who are wanting to adopt, and they reach out to me to ask, like, what can I do to support a birth mom, or how can I help her? What was helpful for you? Things like that. Like, it's just opened up this whole world mm-hmm. that I feel so deeply about, and I love it so much. And it's not in the movies that they showed you in the 90s. Like, it's so much better. I mean, are there stories that are kind of crazy? Sure. But there's stories in any circumstance that are kind of crazy. But ultimately, like, if you know a birth mom, you know some of the strongest people that you've ever met. Like, ever. And I'm not saying that about myself. I'm saying that about women that I have met.
And it about yourself.
Thanks. I've met other amazing women who have also made the same decision. And they are incredible women.
Mm-hmm. That's so cool that you've met other birth moms. Are you in any like birth mom groups or anything like that?
So I used to be. There was a lot more. There's like a birth mom group when I lived in Washington State that I was pretty actively, like, we would have like retreats every year, things like that. My friend and I actually did a podcast a few years ago. She's an adoptive mom and I'm a birth mom. And so we did a podcast together. It was just a little one that lasted about a year, and it didn't reach a ton of people, but it did reach some people. And so that was really fun to get to know other people in the adoption world that needed help or had some questions. And so I'm not super active in the adoption community right now, except for things like this, or like there was a couple that I knew through Instagram, only through our podcast, that we started following each other, and they're getting ready to adopt their second baby. And she asked me to look over her profile of like of what she's sending out. And she's like, what as a birth mom would you want to see? And I gave her a couple little tweaks of things, and she was like super like grateful for it. And so things like that, like I love being involved in the adoption community if I can help people in any way. And other than that, like I'm not actively like in a group that meets often.
Yeah. Well, there's a time and a place for that, right? Like I'm sure. But adoption isn't what it used to be. It's not I mean, for some people, but it's not as secretive. It's not as shameful. And there's so much access to so much support now.
Yes.
And I think that's so amazing. And partly why, we're here right now sitting down talking, because we just want people to know the beauty behind adoption. And it has changed so much. And I think that's so great. And there's so much access to so many, support systems.
Yeah. I love that too.
Yeah. Okay. So I do have 3 questions that I ask every guest on our podcast. So the first one is, what's something unique about you that not very many people know?
Oh, that's a good one. That not many people, this is the funny thing, is I'm such an open book. I don't know if there's a lot about me that like my friends and family don't already know.
Yeah.
But what is kind of funny about me is I'm like a super athletic girl. Like I coach CrossFit, love all things athletic, like played basketball, love all that stuff. But I am to my core a like musical nerd. I love musicals. I love music. I can't sing, cannot sing to save my life, but I will belt it out like if I'm on Broadway. Like that's actually a unrealistic dream of mine, is to be on a Broadway stage one day and belt it out and have people cheer and clap for me. It won't ever happen, but it's out there.
Don't sell yourself short.
It won't.
I love that. I am also a musical nerd, and I love all musicals. And I finally got my husband on board with them too, and now he finally appreciates them. And
my husband appreciates them too, so I'm very happy that we love that. Yeah,
he's a good man.
That's right.
Okay, what is your favorite form of self-care?
I love just. Don't judge, but I love just to binge a good show.
Oh yeah.
Like I love a good power nap. I will come home after I've been doing a long-term subbing job for PE, and it's a lot the whole day. So what I do every day is I come home, lay in my bed. I might watch like a half of a show, and then I will fall asleep for 30 minutes. That's the best way that I can take care of myself.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So my next question is actually, what's your favorite comfort show or movie?
Okay.
You like to
well, I love Survivor.
Okay.
That's been my favorite TV show since 2001. And I love kind of reality shows that are like 90 Day Fiance and kind of shows like that. Like they're just dumb. Doesn't make my mind have to work really hard to watch anything. And sometimes it's fun to watch other people's chaos and be like, oh, my life's okay.
Are you watching Love is Blind?
I have not gotten into that one yet. I mean, I've watched other episodes, but not this season.
Okay. Oh,
I got to get on this season. I've heard it's crazy.
This season's full of a lot of wackadoodles.
Yes. Okay, good.
But it's very entertaining. Like
okay, good.
I laughed so hard watching it the other day because it is weird.
Okay, good. I will have surgery next Wednesday, which will keep me in bed for a few days. Yeah. That's on my list.
Put that on your list. And also, have you watched Traitors?
Yes. Okay. I love Traitors. But I also love
Survivor. I was like, yes, tell her about Traitors.
Yes, Survivor, Big Brother, The Challenge, all of those shows.
Mhm.
And then they put all of my favorite people into the traders. Yes, please.
It's so good. It's
So good.
I tell everyone to watch that show. I'm
Yeah, it's
a
so
weirdo
good.
telling people about it.
No, it's great.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
openness and your vulnerability, and I think your story will bring a lot of hope and understanding to what adoption can look like when it's done with love and respect. And, we're just hoping that there's a listener out there who feels seen and inspired by your story and what, an open adoption could look like for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Yeah, it was so great to chat with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. Adoption is very personal and looks different to each family. We'd love to hear about your own personal experiences and stories. Please email us your story at info@aguardianangel.com, and your story might be featured in a future episode. If you like what you've heard today, please leave a review and help us spread the word. Speaking of Adoption drops every other Tuesday. Subscribe today so you never miss a single episode. Speaking of Adoption is brought to you by A Guardian Angel Adoptions. If you or someone you know is experiencing unplanned pregnancy and you need to talk or get unbiased advice, our friendly and helpful staff is available to talk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on holidays. We look forward to speaking about adoption with you next week.